Okay, YouTube, I'm doing an interview with a friend of mine, a good friend named Stacia.
Hello.
She actually braids my hair and everything, so I wanted to know what you thought about the so-called gender war in the black community. Stacia and I have great conversations and even better arguments over different stuff in the black community, so I want to get her take on it. I don't think there's a gender war. I think it's just folks that don't like each other and they're going at it. But she thinks differently, so tell me, what do you think? You think there is a gender war?
Oh, yes, I think it's a gender war between black men and women in the community.
What do you think it stems from?
Like most other things, I think it stems from slavery, and I know I'm tired of saying it, I'm tired of hearing it, but I think that is the root of it for black Americans, definitely.
Do you see it on a daily basis? Have you had interactions that also bring you to that conclusion?
I mean, I just think the way that we're acting as a people and how we interact definitely with one another, yeah, I do see it. I wouldn't say on a daily basis, like every time I step out my house, I'm like bombarded with it, but just if we sit down and just take an overall summation of what's going on, it's something that's definitely wrong with black men and women and how we're interacting.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think there's a gender war in the white community?
I would say I really don't know.
Because I know, yeah, I thought I said that you don't.
I'm not Caucasian. I don't really interact with them in that.
Right, in that capacity.
Sense, right. To say yes or no.
See, I think that I don't think there's a gender war. Like I said, I think it's some folks that don't get along who have differences of opinions on stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think whenever there's conflict between black folks, it has to be classified as something. We can't just be damn human and I just don't like you and your philosophy on life and I think you're an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like, other people have that right to do that but us. You know what I mean? Like, if we saw a group of white women and white men, not even comparing us to them, because I know people hate that too, and sometimes I get tired of it.
And I'm one of them.
But I want to say, we wouldn't say, "Oh, white folks and white men, and white women got problems with each other." You know what I'm saying? We'd just be like, "She just don't like him."
Well, I would like to say, if there were no Caucasian people on this earth, we would have a very intrinsic problem as black men and black women. If Caucasian people they didn't exist in 2 minutes, we would still have the same issue. So the issue's not here because we are black. The black part is just identity, just like this is a lion, this is a leopard, those are two different species, whatever. So we're talking about the problems with the lion. So the problems with black people is we have a problem with the way we interact with one another.
Okay.
Now, yes, it stemmed from something dealing with race if we're talking about slavery.
Okay.
But now that slavery, so-called, the physical part of it is over, and if, like I said, Caucasian people didn't exist, the problem still exists.
Okay. Oh, all right. I don't agree, but, you know, do you, boo.
I will.
So, what do you think is, what can be done to heal the so-called rift between the genders in the black community?
Honestly, I think at this point, individually, we all have to do a lot of soul searching, and it sounds so... the word I'm looking, it sounds very difficult to do, but I think at this point we really have to get in touch with God.
Okay.
And until we go to God, we're going to kind of continue to have the problem.
So what do you do with the folks who don't go to God, who don't believe in God?
It's nothing that I'm going to do with them. It's what God is going to do with them. I mean, I really, and I'm not saying it as if, oh, I'm there and I've reached God and we are like swinging hands at the pearly gates. But I don't really sit down and say, oh, Jesus. And not to make fun of anyone, I'm sorry. But I'm just saying I don't sit down and say my woes as if I'm doing all right.
Right.
And then the people that aren't, that's just something I'm trying to do.
I got you.
Personally.
I got
I'm
you.
trying to.
I got you. Okay.
Spiritually get right. But if we want to, a lot of people don't like to talk about God because it's something that is so subjective. So if we wanted to take God out of it, I think first we have to realize there is a problem.
Okay.
And if we can come together and say there is a problem, and then we realize what the root of the problem is, if we can agree on basic things, then we can start coming up with the solution. And I think part of the solution is really appreciating yourself And we talk about it all day long. Oh, I love myself. It's easy to say, but once we really watch people, if we watch how we act as black men and women, a person who likes himself, to me, will like another form or another representation of himself. So we wouldn't have those problems that we have with our children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with the baby daddy syndrome or with the baby mama syndrome. If you really appreciate who you are as a person, then you would think that that person would appreciate something that they've created.
Mm-hmm.
And we really don't on a whole, so therefore we have a problem with self.
Okay, I'm about to ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
It's loaded, but I'm going to ask it anyway. A lot of black men on YouTube, and even a few black women that I've seen,
mm-hmm.
and not even maybe a lot, but I've noticed that a good amount of black men on YouTube who are supposedly indulged in this gender war seem to think that most of the problems that stem from the black community come from the black single mother, from the black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's blame on both parts? Do you think it's equal blame, or one gender is held to more blame than the other?
I would say right now it's equal blame, because one can't really operate without the other. A
mm-hmm.
child, when you say a single mother, then where is the father?
Mm-hmm.
A mother is not single because she produced a child on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand how that people say such things like, oh, well, single black woman. Well, if she's single, then the father is absent, and is he married? Or it's
right.
still a broken family has been created by two people.
Right.
So there's two people that are responsible.
Okay.
For that situation. I think in this day and age, a lot of people are very, very, very selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that to say that people don't want to dedicate themselves to and take responsibility for their own choices.
Okay.
Bringing that back to, yes, you decided to lay with a person, create a child, well, because you don't like the way she, as they say, I guess, act, or she's not responding to you properly, you still have a duty to that child. And a lot of people, I do take care of my child. Well, really, how do you, sir?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I get my child every other weekend. That's not taking care of a child. You're a father 24/7. You're
mm-hmm.
a mother 24/7. And we've just accepted that from men, just as well as we accepted that women should do most of the physical time.
Right.
Where it's very hard for anybody,
mm-hmm.
Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, to take care of a child, be it a mother or a father, because I do know a lot of men that do more.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but I do know men or have friends that do more than the mother physically.
Right.
And to work a job, come home, to give attention to a child, make
mm-hmm.
sure your house is clean, you're going to have a breakdown all the time,
mm-hmm.
period. And
okay.
usually the child is the one that has to suffer.
What do you see positive in the black community?
Positive?
Mm-hmm.
Perseverance. We definitely have a lot of hope
mm-hmm.
and a lot of faith. I mean, I think that's shown with the presidency
mm-hmm.
that just took place by Obama. And we usually, as much as we may say negative things about each other or
mm-hmm.
about other people, we really, I think, have a warmth that no other race really has.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for talking to me today.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. So we'll talk again soon. Thanks for listening, YouTube.